You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
When I wake up in the morning and the longest I don't want it, I don't think I'll ever make it on time. Find a cent, I grab a bus and I give myself a look. I'm at the corner just in time to see the bus fly by. It's alright, 'cause I'm safe out of bed.
Yes, it's time to delve back into the swap meet bag and uncover all of the amazing, weird things I have found at the swap meet over the years. A mini episode of 91 Reasons. Rachel's at work. I am home alone, and in between eBay auctions and cleaning and Christmas wrapping, I'm going to do a quick episode detailing some of the more bizarre things I have uncovered at swap meets. And these are popular. People like these. This one is not as dizzying in the heights of sales as the Jurassic Park one, but nothing will ever be as big as that. I can't imagine finding anything that rare. It just doesn't work that way. But in my travels in the swap meet, I have run across so many weird things, and it's interesting to put them all out there because a lot of this stuff is only in my hands for a short time before it moves on to a more rightful owner who will put it in a place of honor in their collection. And I always say, like, yes, I'm doing it to make money, but I'm also doing it to save items that would otherwise fade into dust. So, like, you never know what you're going to find at the swap meet. Like, I've had weird moments where a couple years ago, my daughter wanted to dress up as Dracula for Halloween. Well, the easiest way to dress up for Dracula is to just buy a Dracula costume, because finding a suit her size and all the accoutrements that go with that is just too much work. So Rachel and I made a plan to go buy it at the swap meet. And, even at the swap meet, stuff is expensive, and especially seasonal stuff. Like, you probably don't realize, but the swap meet people save all of their seasonal items and only sell them during the time of that season. You only can find Easter stuff in the weeks leading up to Easter. Right now, the swap meet is flooded with Christmas stuff. But my favorite is late August, and then moving into September, they start bringing in all of their Halloween stuff. And I'm a big Halloween fan, so obviously the Halloween stuff is always fun because I love to find old masks. And like I said before on a show, I will someday find Sargoth the Cobra by Don Post, and I will buy it, and it will not go anywhere. It will have a place of honor in my collection, and I'll probably be buried in it. But anyways, on a real quick side note, we found that Dracula costume one time at a swap meet. It was $15. I mean, that's high for a swap meet costume. It was new, but you're still at the swap meet. So, like, the mindset is if you were at Target and that costume was $15 and not $20, you'd go, oh my God, it's $5 off. We have to buy it. At the swap meet, you're like, $15, man. It should be $5, but it's $15. So the way I paid for that was on one aisle, I found a lady selling costume jewelry, and I bought a few pieces, and one of them was gold. So the next aisle, I sold the gold cross to the people who buy gold for $15, and then I bought the Dracula costume. I think the costume ended up costing me 50 cents. But that's how I work the swap meet. Like, there's ways to work it if you know what you're doing. And this time I'm going to talk about being out at Cypress Swap Meet. I used to go to Cypress a lot because we lived right around the corner. Now, Cypress Swap Meet is mostly collectors. It's the heart of Orange County, so you better know your stuff. Like, between Cypress and Golden West College, there were a lot of collectibles to be found, but they're always at collectible prices. So bargains are a little more difficult, and rare stuff is even rarer because everybody is on the hunt. Out here in Riverside, I'm the only guy, so that stuff is it's waiting for me. Yesterday, I went to the swap meet and spent nothing until I'm not kidding, the very last booth. I found a whole box of vintage posters. Ended up buying all of them for about $15. And I'll be listing those on eBay. I just listed a whole bunch already, and there's still a bunch. I ended up paying maybe 35, 40 cents a poster. There was a very cool Buck Rogers poster, which is why I bought it. Jill Gerard in a poster that hung up in Burger King to announce the premiere of the show. So there is stuff out here in the boonies, man. But Cypress is a little more difficult to find stuff. So I'm out at Cypress, and if you've heard me talk about the swap meet before, you know that a lot of the stuff comes from people who lose their storage units. And it's very sad because you see a lot of personal items, and not like coffee makers and stuff, but like photo albums and diplomas and yearbooks and stuff that's really irreplaceable. Once it's gone, it's gone. And there are times I find myself digging through a box of stuff and just having a weird moment like this is somebody's life, and it's just been purchased by strangers and strewn across the floor. So I'm not sure why people get storage units. I live so frugally that if I can't keep it stored at my house, I just get rid of it. Like, I can't imagine paying a fee for a storage unit full of stuff with the idea that, gosh, if you miss a payment or two, somebody comes and buys it. That's really rough. But, there have been many times, in fact, every time I go to the swap meet, somebody's life is laid out on a blanket for sale. And there has even been stories of celebrities who have lost their storage units. There's that lady on Storage Wars who bought Paris Hilton storage, and it had a lot of unpublished pictures of Paris Hilton back when people cared about Paris Hilton. The closest I've come to a celebrity storage is I was out at Cypress, and there was a really gruff Asian guy who always had a lit cigarette in his mouth, and when he talked, like it wagged up and down, and he would just bark prices. You'd hold something up. How much? $8. $8? This is junk. $8. So when I got to his booth, he had a bunch of pictures, boxes of pictures. Now, by themselves, pictures are not generally worth any money. But I do keep an eye out because there are small niches that are both worth money and cool to me, and that's pictures of people at theme parks. Because if you can figure out what the date is, you can get a snapshot of what it was like to go in the park that day, and not like the publicity publicity photos that they take on their own, because those are always staged. They're phony looking. But real theme park stuff, I love to, dig that stuff up. So I saw a couple of pictures of kids at Disneyland. So right away, my interest was piqued. So I started digging through this box, and the most startling thing was coming across pictures of somebody that I knew. Like, that was really weird. The odds of that are infinitesimal, but they are a little easier if that person you're talking about is a celebrity. And I'm talking about my good friend, the magician, Ed Alonzo. Now, Ed has appeared all around the world. I've seen Ed at the Magic Castle. And more importantly, Ed has appeared at Knott's Scary Farm for years. Not so recently, but he's still in the Cedar Fair family at some of our other parks for Halloween. Ed's a great guy. If you ever get a chance to see Ed Alonzo live on stage doing magic, you should check it out. He's talented and very funny, and his show is fantastic. But I started seeing pictures of Ed, so I was really startled, but not so startled when I realized what they were. See, Ed's big break came when he was on the TV show Saved by the Bell. So I started seeing all these pictures from the set of Saved by the Bell with all members of the cast, but predominantly pictures of Dustin Diamond, who played Screech. So obviously, Dustin Diamond had lost his storage unit. So I thought, oh my gosh, these have got to be worth something. And even if they're not, I can give Ed these pictures of himself that he's probably never even seen. So I started putting, like I always do, put a pile together. I'm going to guess there were two pretty big, medium-sized boxes full of photos and paperwork and anything that I thought was interesting I threw in the box because I know this guy is going to give me a lot price. So he comes over, and I'm a little nervous because, again, this guy's expensive. And he goes, $50. I'm like, $50, man. I'm the only guy that's going to buy these. These are pictures. It's not like household items or baseball cards or any kind of obvious at first sight collectible. Instead, it's pictures. But you know what? I really wanted them. So I took the risk. I gave him the $50 and I carted all this stuff home. And when I got home, I started going through it. And I was really amazed at what was in this box. There were, oh my gosh, at least 100 pictures from the set of Saved by the Bell of this luau Hawaiian episode where the kids end up at the Max, which is the soda shop that Ed runs on the show. He plays Max. And they're all dancing in like hula gear and stuff. So there was also pictures backstage in front of dressing rooms and stuff. So I gathered up like a big pile of pictures of Ed, and I gave them to him. And I was like, hey, this is you. You want? He couldn't believe it. He was like, where'd you get all these? I was like, well, I explained the swap meet story. And I said, you know what I want to do is I'd like to track down Dustin Diamond and give him his pictures back. You know, if he wants to float me the $50, that'd be great. And I'll certainly put that out there. But it'd be nice to give him back. So I have to tell you, I worked for about a year. Now, this is before any kind of social media. This was before any kind of really... Like, celebrities are so accessible now with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and blah, 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 blah. But back in the day, like, this is nearly impossible. So I spent nearly a year trying to track this guy down to give him his stuff, and I couldn't do it. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to start selling these pictures to try to make my $50 back. So I put up a couple of pictures of Zach and the gang from Saved by the Bell, Stack and Slater and Kelly and the whole gang. And you know what? I started getting $25 to $30 per photo. Like, I couldn't believe it. There was such a demand for these things, and I had stacks. So I was able to ride the Saved by the Bell photo gravy train for a long time. And you know what? I even still have a couple of those photos left. So I'll try to, as I always say, put up a picture on the Facebook page. But I was really amazed at how well the pictures did. I ended up making, oh my gosh, I'm going to guess maybe $1,000 off of that $50 investment. Now, it took a long time. It's not like I just traded it for the $1,000. You're talking about a long, slow burn over months and months of listing these pictures. And there were other random pictures in there too. Like there was pictures of Dustin Diamond at Disneyland. Apparently they were really big Disneyland guys. Like they went all the time. There was a picture of him with Rod Miller, the Coke Corner pianist. So I ended up giving that to Rod because he, all his connections through Disneyland. So I tried to make as many people happy, including myself, by selling them with these pictures, right? And the other weird part about this lot was there were Saved by the Bell check stubs. Like I knew what Dustin Diamond was getting paid to do an episode of Saved by the Bell. And I think it was those stubs that prompted me to really try to find that guy. Now, I never did. I'm not leading up to anything. There was no meeting with Dustin to give him stuff. It never happened. But I just felt weird, like, why is this stuff strewn about and left to rot? And I don't know. I think I ended up shredding those check stubs. Like, who needs that? It's got all his personal information on it. And I don't dig that. But yeah, I did make the hero effort to try to give them back, like I've done with yearbooks. But, I've never been successful in any possible realm of that. I was only able to give Ed the pictures because I knew Ed personally, and I just handed it to him. And there were a bunch of them, him hamming it up with a ukulele. And, that was a lot of fun. A lot of stuff on eBay's tough. And I'm taking a risk. But that was fun because I had a project for a while, and I was able to, in the end, make a lot of money. Now, there was another interesting picture in that box, and or a few. There were actually a few. So let me give you a little history. You probably know this if you're a nerd, but if you don't, hang on. So, Saved by the Bell actually began as a show called Good Morning Miss Bliss. Now, it featured a lot of the same characters, but it was a different vibe to the show. It was a Saturday morning, soap opera type kids show. But Good Morning Miss Bliss almost immediately morphed into what Saved by the Bell is that we all know, and I'm sure a lot of you watched. Now, I didn't, but that's just a generational thing. I have seen a few episodes. Like, I love the episode where Elizabeth Berkley's on drugs and she's screaming. What is she screaming about on drugs and singing? And oh God, it's just hysterical because it's the worst acting ever. And isn't there an episode where they're all doing aerobics in shiny spandex? So I tuned in for that one. But Good Morning Miss Bliss was filmed at NBC Studios. And NBC Studios was home to a lot of other projects. And Dustin Diamond did more than just Saved by the Bell. Like, he was also in a direct-to-tape movie called The Flying Purple People Eater. We used to stock it at Multivideo. It's the only reason I know. He was also one of the kids in Big Top Pee-wee. So there was a fun picture of him on the set of Big Top Pee-wee. Unfortunately, Pee-wee was not in it. There was a picture of him with the Purple People Eater. There was some odd pictures, like there was a Polaroid of Jason Harvey. Now, Jason Harvey was Milton in Back to the Future. He was also the older brother on the Wonder Years. He was also the one who gets Pee-wee's bike given to him on the movie set. So I knew who Jason Harvey was, and I immediately recognized what the photo was. There was also a picture of a very young Neil Patrick Harris on the set of Doogie Howser. So Dustin was juiced in to this scene because he was a kid actor in the throes of all these projects going on at the same time. And the magical picture that I dug up out of this box was from another project being created at NBC Studios at the same time as Good Morning Miss Bliss. And that project was The Goonies. Now, I'm a big fan of The Goonies. At some point, I'll do a whole episode on reviewing The Goonies and how many times I saw it in a theater. But this picture was The Goonies at school. Not, in a classroom at school, but like on the set doing their school. Because, all child actors have to be schooled in between takes. There's a certain number of hours they have to spend at school with a teacher. So I saw this picture and like my eyes just bugged out of my head because it was the whole cast of the Goonies mugging for the camera off set. They're not in the pirate set because the big scenes they filmed at NBC was the pirate ship scene, like that massive set with One-Eyed Willie's pirate ship. So I just was like, wow. And you know what? I saved that picture to the end to sell because I don't know if I wanted to sell it, but I also knew like this is a pretty rare piece of movie history. Now, this is so long ago that I can tell you I sold it for quite a bit of money. Like we're talking $300 or $400, which is amazing for a single picture. But I'm not stupid. I scanned a copy for myself. I don't have the original, but I have a copy, which to me is just as good. I'm okay with that. But I'll try to dig that up. I don't know what file that's in, but how many times did I say that on the show? That should be another drinking game. But that was an amazing piece of movie history. And it's weird to think that it was just rotting in a box at the Cypress swap meet. Waiting for me to find it with all of those Saved by the Bell pictures and how completely bizarre it is that celebrities are just like us. And if they don't have somebody keeping their eye on the ball, even somebody who makes a pretty good living, and I know because I saw the checks back in the day, even those guys can lose their storage in an instant if they screw up. So I would never get a storage. I just don't. I can't do that. I wouldn't trust that. My stuff's all surrounded around me. So it's weird going to the swap meet and seeing people's lives just sort of dissected and held up for profit. And I know that I'm hypocritical because I'm part of that chain, but I'd like to think that I treat the stuff that I find with a little more reverence than the guy who just throws it in a box. And I've uncovered stuff just by digging and getting my hands dirty and really trying to uncover deep in these boxes what's hidden. So there's always treasures out there to be found, you know. I don't fancy myself Indiana Jones, but I'm somewhere between Raiders of the Lost Ark and National Treasure, right? But in a goofy, nerdy way. So, yes, if you're listening, thank you, Dustin Diamond. I made a lot of money off that. I wish I could have given it to you, and I would have, without a doubt. I did try for a long time to return those to you, sir. If you're listening, probably not. I don't know. Hey, it goes out into the vast internet of the world, and who knows who's listening. So, hey, it's a mini episode, another story of something I found at the swap meet. I had a request this week, so I thought I'd get it up as soon as possible. Working on a show later today, sequel to the Homestuck episode. And then I have to watch a movie or two movies for people who donated on my Patreon page for $35 donation. First, thank you so much to Hindle and Michael for your donation. And second, it really helps out the show because it goes directly to paying the storage for these episodes to keep them all intact. I know I sound like a broken record. Check out my Patreon page, patreon.com. Look up 91 Reasons. You can pledge even $1. Every dollar helps, goes right to the show. Thank you. You can also check out my books on Amazon.com. The Sixth Key, The Lost Station, and The Infinite Backward, all available right now. They make a great Christmas gift. If you're local here in California, you can also pick them up at Knott's Berry Farm in the Magic Shop. Right now, during Christmas, the Magic Shop is part of the Christmas Crafts Fair. So Monday through Thursday, you don't even need a ticket to get to it. If you pick up a book there, be sure to let me know so I can sign them for you. They make a great Christmas gift. Book 4 is coming next year, The Ice Temple, and I know this is a few months into the future, but we're planning on attending WonderCon and showcasing all 3 books and selling them there. If you listen to 91 Reasons, let us know, because I'll try to put something on the table that says, hey, I'm also the nerd behind this nerdy podcast. So I'd like to thank everybody for listening all around the world. You guys make it all worth doing. My name is Jeff Tucker. I am the voice you hear. This is 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
When I wake up in the morning